What up, world? Big Prophet Jewel of the day. My bad. I'm on a drive, but I have limited time. But I'm trying to always make time and not excuses to do the jewels. Keep them coming, cause every day there's more to learn. There's more to understand. More wisdom every single day. Right? I'm blessed to live a life where the Most High blesses me with more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So I just have to share it. And this jewel today is about perspective. You know what I mean? The power of perspective, I'm gonna call it. So I think perspective is one of the most powerful things in the universe. As far as being a human being, perspective can change everything. Your situation doesn't have to change for your perspective to change your life. Everything around you is the exact same, but everything is different once your perspective changes. You know, it's like the jewel I had before about the meaning of meaning. What is beauty? It's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you know, and it's really the story that you tell yourself about it. You know, like someone could have a story about, there was something like some story about a pair of baby shoes, right? They just showed a picture of baby shoes. You know, the object is baby shoes, but once you tell a story, the story is different. It changes your perspective on those baby shoes. So like, I think the story was like this couple lost their baby, God forbid, you know what I mean? And this was the picture of their baby shoes. So now you look at that picture and now you're sad. This is a terribly sad story. It's devastating. All right, but that's the power of perspective. You look, the object never changed, but your perspective, your outlook on it, and the meaning of it changed. Right? So I recently went through an experience where I woke up stressed out and depressed about my situation, right? And I started looking at it differently, and that lit me up. I went from depressed to inspired, and that's the whole power of perspective, you know. And that's what I want to share with people, is just like, once you change how you look at your situation, that will change your situation. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait for your situation to change for your life to change. You change how you look at it. You change how you think. That's the power of the mind. The mind is the most powerful thing you have, right? So that's what I want to instill, and that's really what Prophet Jules has always been about. Is about perspective, changing your perspective, looking at things in a different way. You know, and the power of that, you know. And like I talk, like in the podcast, I always talk about mental health. And I'm not no psychologist. I'm not a mental health professional or a doctor or anything, you know. But I do know my mental health has improved based on my perspective. Because of my perspective, because I changed my perspective, my whole life has changed. And that is the most powerful tool I have. And that's the tool I want to share with everybody, because it's free, but it's the most powerful thing you can do. Like in the last jewel, it was like, it's what you focus on. You know, it was just talking like, the thing didn't change, the situation didn't change, but how you look at it, how you treat it. Your happiness is determined by what you focus on. Because there's people that have everything that they prayed for and wished for, but are still miserable. Right? But it's because of what you focus on. You gotta understand, gratitude is perspective. It's a matter of perspective. You know what I mean? What do you focus on? How do you look at your life? How do you look at others, the life of others in comparison? And like, focus is what makes it so powerful. Like they say, what you focus on expands. So why don't you expand the things that are more meaningful, right? The things that you want more of. Like a huge thing I've been learning and changing for myself is what they call a money blueprint. Like, I recently read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, and he speaks about a money blueprint, right? And he talks about your upbringing, your environment, how these basically write the laws in your mind of how money works, right? And so these blueprints, these laws, these rules that you have in your mind about money and how money works, how abundance works, these are what you focus on. This is the programming of your mind. And the thing is, you can reprogram your mind, how you look at things, and you must reprogram your mind. If you want to grow, if you want to excel past the level that you're at, you have to change your perspective. You can't look at things the same way you used to, the way you have for the last few years, you know what I mean? If you look at someone, like yesterday, a friend of mine, good friend of mine, I know this guy since high school, since like 15, 16 years old, maybe younger than that. He's doing the same thing he was 20 years ago. The exact same thing. He's riding his bike, he's beating his juice, going to the same spot with the same people 20 years later. How much do you think his perspective on life has changed? I'm not doing the same thing I was a month ago. My life is completely different than it was a month ago. How much do you think my perspective changed? That's how, if you want your life to change, you gotta change how you look at things. The things that were important to me, the rules and the blueprint that I live by, the way I understood things, no longer apply. I've outgrown that. I challenged my programming, whether it's societal programming, family programming, religious programming. I challenge those things, and I encourage you to challenge your beliefs as well. That's what this life is all about. If you want growth, mental growth, not just physical growth. Even with physical growth, you have to push beyond your limitations. But mental growth, your mental capacity is limitless. So you have to push past the limitations. If you realize where you're at in life is not where you want to be, it's because you are limited in your thinking. Your thinking, what you have going on in your mind, is manifests itself outside of you. It manifests the world that you live in, the life that you live in. So what you need to do is identify your limitations. Identify what's holding you captive. What beliefs are not helping you anymore. This is your perspective. This is the outlook that you have. Now shift it. Look at it differently. Look at what if this wasn't true? What if those aren't my enemies? What if these things aren't really holding me back, or these experiences aren't really the devil trying to get me, or society's holding me down? What if God or the universe, or whatever you want to say, karma or whatever, is trying to teach you a lesson for you to be better? How to be better? That was that's how I switched from going from depressed to inspired, because I was feeling sorry for myself. Yeah, I have a lot of shit going on in my life, piled up over and over and over. Roadblocks, setbacks, betrayals, loss, over and over and over and over and over again. But guess what? That didn't end me. It didn't stop me. These are all lessons. I'm gonna turn each one of them into a lesson and a reason for me to become better. You understand me? I guarantee you. I already have everything. And I look at everything as it happens for a reason. I always look for influences and lessons and books or behaviors. I look at other people and try to learn lessons from them. so I don't have to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Like some people talk about experience being the best way to learn. You don't want to experience everything. Trust me. You you want to learn from the sideline as much as you can. You know, like there's some things you have to learn in the game, but you don't want to learn those lessons the hard way. You know, you want the detrimental lessons. You know what I mean? You don't want to suffer unnecessarily, right? Unneeded. It's all a matter of perspective. You know what I mean? People are so like, you get this idea in your head, even from when you're a kid. That's the biggest thing that I learned from T. Harv Ekerd's Success in the Millionaire Mind. Where did those beliefs come from? Look back in your childhood. What happened? Like, it was seemingly insignificant moments in my life that created a belief that echoed throughout my life moving forward. It'll be something simple like a toy, a gift. Like my let me share a story, a quick story. We were on vacation with my family. My dad got one toy and my grandma got another toy, and I was probably like 6 or 7 maybe, or 8, and they made me pick between which toy. I like my grandma's toy more, but I was emotionally aware enough to realize or to think that if I picked my grandma's toy over my dad's toy, that might make my dad feel bad. You know what I mean? Like I was an empath for a long time, so I just stood there because I couldn't decide. I was hesitating, right? But I ended up picking my dad's toy, and then they saw that I felt guilty, and that's why I made that choice. So I think, pretty sure I ended up getting both. But that was a belief that I had, that I continued to have, that where I would put the feelings of others above what I wanted, what I actually wanted, right? And that's a belief that was created in a moment that's seemingly insignificant. It wasn't like some traumatic experience that shaped me. It's not really just traumatic experiences that shape you. It's like decisions that you make that create a belief that's like, you know, if I do A plus B equals C, simple as that, you know. And then now your relationship with abundance, with gifts, with receiving, it's changed for the rest of your life, you know. And it's not intentional, obviously. Nobody realizes these things in the moment, you know. But as an adult, it's your job to look back. It's your responsibility if you are fortunate enough to get the awareness to look back at these moments and then follow it back, and then realize the effect it has on you now, and then rewrite the code. And that's what it's all about. Like, because this code might affect you 20 years later and be like, yo, I don't know what I want. I compromise what I want based on the needs of others, the emotional needs of others. And then you're not good at receiving, or you're not good at you're very hesitant, or you're nervous. Like, there's all sorts of things, yo. But that's a small example. But I realized that played an effect in my belief system and my abundance. That was my money blueprint, was affected by that moment. That's one moment, but it was a key moment. I had so many reading this book made me realize so many different moments throughout my life that I had experiences that shaped my beliefs. Everybody has that. That's part of being human, you know. We create our beliefs, and that's how powerful perspective is, that we shape the dimensions of our thinking and our experience and our life, the choices that we're going to make moving forward. These are the dimensions. You created a dimension that your understanding, your beliefs, and everything operates within. It won't operate outside of those programming. That programming. It won't think outside of that programming. It can't, because it's a belief. That's how powerful our beliefs are. You know what I mean? You won't think outside of it. That was like the meaning of meaning, right? Yeah, that jewel, the meaning of meaning, where it's like, yo, you have this abstract idea, but it's not defined, so there's no dimension to it. It's limitless until you put dimension to it. And that's the whole thing. Once you identify something, you put dimension to it, realize, yo, this is just a small belief. This is not, like, my life could be so much bigger than this idea that I had, and you can just dash it away. And that's what you got to do with things that don't serve you. You know what I mean? I've gone as far as created, like, encapsulated this behavior, this mindset of behaviors I've had, and how I reacted to situations, you know. And I gave it a name, I gave it dimension, and then I dashed it away. And now I don't think like that no more. And then, like, I was reading up on it, and in psychology they call that integration. You know, when you give a persona, a name of a persona of these set behaviors you have, and then you no longer live by those rules or those laws anymore. You know, we do that all the time, but those are the biggest shifts in our life, when we change our belief system, when we expand outside of our belief system. So, like, there's different ways we could do that. But this all boils down to perspective, the power of perspective, you know. And you could change your life. This shit is free. There's no cost to it. But it's the most powerful thing you could do to change your life. You know what I mean? This is education. Right, now we're getting some traffic and slowing the fuck down. But yeah, so you could change any situation into a positive. You can find a way. You can find a way. Oh man, that's a power of the mind. But yeah, that is Prophet Jewel of the Day, the power of perspective. I might add on to it later, but that's more or less what I wanted to share with you. Nothing but peace and love. Hope that helps you. Have a blessed one.